Welcome to Discovery Watch with John Kaiser.
I'm Jim Goddard. John, welcome back to the show and the best of the season.
Jim, pleasure to be back, and best of the season to you too.
Midas Gold has released its feasibility study for the Stibnite gold project. Is there going to be a mine?
Jim, it certainly looks like they have everything in the right numbers to build a mine down the road. It's a 20,000 ton per day operation, open pit mine, 15-year mine life. It would produce 4.3 million ounces of gold, and at a base case price of $1,600 gold, the net present value at 5% discount rate clocks in at US dollars $1.347 billion, and the IRR, the internal rate of return, is 22.3%. You always like to see the IRR above 20%. But what's really important is that CapEx, which was about $1 billion in the pre-feasibility study, it increased only about 30% to $1.292 billion. And that was the main thing people were worried about, was that we would see a CapEx blowout for this project. Now, at the 1850 current price that they also ran the numbers under, the NPV goes to 1.9 billion US, which is about 50% more than CapEx, and that's definitely a green light for development. And we are now in the final throes of the permitting cycle. The environmental impact statement, the draft version, was accepted. The comment period ended in October. The Forest Service is now going through all the comments and compiling them and preparing for the next stage. But there is a bit of a depressing development. We talked not too long ago about John Paulson, who had converted his debenture position into a 44% equity stake. He had some sort of hissy fit where he decided that we needed to relocate this company completely to Idaho, make it a pure American company, and he put out this requisition letter to the shareholders where he wanted the board change to all his pals. And what happened on December 4th was that most of the existing board, they resigned, and the Vancouver management, which had basically been told you need to move to the United States to continue working for this company, which wasn't really going to happen. So led by Stephen Quinn, the CEO, they all resigned. And that creates a big cloud over the company. You have this guy who made a big bunch of money shorting real estate credit default swaps in the prior decade. The only reason he collected anything was because the government bailed out all the banks that would not have been in a position to pay him out the billions that he made. And then he decided to become a gold bug because the government went and printed all this money through quantitative easing to be able to fix the financial system and enable him to be a billionaire. He went and bought all these horrible companies that were way out of the money, and many of them are still out of the money. Companies like Nova Gold, Seabridge, and Midas was really the only company which he didn't invest. He did not invest in Midas until 2016, and at the time, the PFS was, not that great at $1,300, but in the long run, by the time this got permitted and developed, gold was going to likely be higher. So he saved the company. It was his money that helped him spend the $75 million needed to push this through the permitting cycle. But it's really strange that with 1 year left to go, with the people who are a key part of developing this, he would arrange to clean them out, put his own puppets in charge, and then hope that the rest of the permitting cycle ends up being fully completed with the local people that he has pulled in from Idaho. And this has put a cloud on the upside potential of the company because there are now no people connected with it who have the ability to at least plausibly pretend to develop this as a standalone project. The feasibility study is based on standalone development, but one of the options is that a party like the Barrick Newmont Nevada joint venture, which controls roasters with possible spare capacity in Nevada, could end up buying out Midas Gold and developing this mine and trucking the concentrate south to Nevada where they can be processed in the roaster rather than in the pressure oxidation autoclave that Midas has built into its feasibility study. So the concern now in the market is that this company will end up being absorbed into some of these other dogs that he's connected with, such as Nova Gold, whose Donlin Creek doesn't seem to want to go anywhere with Barrick in charge, or Seabridge, which is this endless fiat currency debasement bet on gold prices going to the moon without costs going along with it. This is the concern that the future for Midas is something like that, ending up parked as an optionality play inside another company. And of course, that will have to happen if they get a negative record of decision, such as happened to Northern Dynasty and the Pebble project. But if everything ends up being taken care of and they get some people that are real mining people involved with this who can make sure that this gets approved by the Forest Service and is ready to be put into production, I've run the numbers, and in my own, if you convert their NPV outcomes, we're talking about a $2 to $4 future price for this company. If we do see gold going to something like $2,300, as Goldman Sachs suggests, then we're starting to talk about a $4 to $6, and I'm talking Canadian, price for the company. So Midas Gold is still a great company with the biggest potential new gold mine in the United States. There will be this 80 million lifetime payable byproduct supply of antimony, which could become useful if the relationship between China and the United States breaks down. But in that letter to the shareholders that John Paulson published, where he talks about turning this gold company into a critical metals company, that was just plain daft, and it really undermines the market's confidence in where this company is headed going forward.
We'll have more with John Kaiser right after this.
Engineer Gold Mines is focused on the exploration and development of the historic high-grade Engineer Gold Mine situated 32 kilometers southwest of Atlin, British Columbia. Engineer Gold Mines is fully permitted for surface and underground exploration with the drill program now underway. Engineer Gold Mines Limited trades on the TSX Venture Exchange, symbol EAU. For more information, please visit us at engineergoldmines.com.
Value from success. Growth in discovery. Golden Arrow Resources is a well-funded gold-copper exploration company with proven management and prospective properties in Chile, Argentina, and Paraguay. Golden Arrow trades on the Toronto Venture Exchange, symbol GRG, on Frankfurt, symbol G6A, and the OTCQB, symbol GARWF. For more information, visit us at goldenarrowresources.com or call Sean at 778-686-0135.
Welcome back. We're speaking with John Kaiser. John, New Legacy released some results for its Gold Rush 2 play, and the stock sagged. What was the market unhappy about?
Well, Albert Matter decided that with the first two holes that they drilled into the rift anticline on the north fence, to rush the gold assays. And, of course, the market wanted instant gratification. You've got this great hypothesis developed based on the reinterpretation of the CSAMT data underneath this basalt cover that obscures this area that has never been drilled. And the best that came back was a 40-foot interval of 0.55 gram per ton gold, and the next best was 16 feet of 0.17 gram per ton gold. And there were other intervals. Clearly there is gold smoke within the system, but it isn't what you would call a discovery hole signaling that Gold Rush 2 has been found. And it's quite unfair that the market should have these high expectations, but then that's what the market does. So the stock has sagged. And in that news release, they also announced that they completed the two holes in the southern fence. The northern ones are about 287 meters apart. The southern fence is almost 1,600 meters to the south, and these two holes are 536 meters apart. So you have these this rectangle of 4 orientation holes smack in the middle of this rift anticline hypothesis. And these are simply the starting points for vectoring in on where is the gold rush style gold zone located within this. So it was too much to expect them to get lucky on the first try. They do not yet have geochemical assays for all the Carlin pathfinders such as arsenic, antimony, thallium. They do have an XRF unit which they use to shoot the core as it comes out, and that gives them a rough sense of how much arsenic and antimony is present. And they are certainly seeing the kind of quantities that have them now convinced we have a powerful hydrothermal system that had the Carlin-style fluids in it. We see some evidence of gold. And most importantly, what came out in the earlier news release in late November is the Wenban 5 horizons, which they modeled based on the CSAMT data. It is roughly where it is supposed to be, and the other different horizons, Wenban 1 and others, they're also where they are supposed to be with their thicknesses. So the structural model that these guys developed with peripheral physical data by looking at how everything behaved in the Serena iceberg area of 2,500 meters to the east, this has been confirmed. And this is a major triumph because they used science to model something that was technically invisible. And now we have the core holes coming in. They are eagerly awaiting all the geochemical assays so that they can start seeing where does the trend go. And of course, they may have to drill some more holes. And of this 16-hole program, they've only drilled 4 so far. So the 12 more will resume late March, early April. And they may have to drill some more holes that don't really amount to a discovery hole, but they need to build the vectoring pattern. And then this news release was also different from the first one. The first one, they talked about anomalously altered, which didn't really make my heart pitter-patter. But this time they were talking about strongly altered, and in a presentation I got from Ed Cope, he was very adamant that we are seeing 2 styles of alteration, heavy silicification in the north fence hole, and a lot of decalcification in the southern part. And decalcification occurs when the fluid flow dissolves the calcium within the limestone and moves it elsewhere. They said they've seen some very thick calcite veins in the area, and that's like taking this material, moving it away and creating porosity vacuums for the gold mineralization to go in and fill up with. So they're very happy to see that. And in fact, they even lost one of the holes because they went into a void, which is like a little underground cave. And this is not karst country where you have all these collapsed caves inside these limestone structures. So the market is misguided in saying goodbye, but I'm quite pleased because we have a 3-month wait before they resume drilling. This now creates a wonderful window to accumulate a position at a price that is less than that 15-20 cents it was when everybody was hoping for the first couple of holes to deliver a discovery hole. But we're seeing all the evidence of a major hydrothermal Carlin-style system. It's only 11 kilometers southeast of the 10 million ounce gold rush zone. And if you found another gold rush today, it would be worth 2.6 billion Canadian, which based on New Legacy's 616 million shares is still a $4 price target. And they bit the bullet and did a big financing this summer. So they now got plenty of money in the treasury. They don't have to finance here during the lull. And of course, because this is really a discovery play, it doesn't matter what gold is doing tomorrow or next week or a month from now. This type of project is going to be viable even if gold is $1,300 an ounce. So it's a great opportunity. It's going to be something we're watching closely in 2021 on Discovery Watch, and cross our fingers. the two southern holes could still get lucky with this Carlin type mineralization. You can never tell what's in the core, but based on all the wording about the strongly altered and the massive fluid flow and the thickness of the formations, much thicker than they have to the east, I think this stock is now better positioned to deliver a winner than they were before they started this 4-hole drill program.
We'll have more with John Kaiser right after this.
Media recognition from Bloomberg, Reuters, recycling trade publications, patented process for 100% recovery of critical metals, including cobalt, lithium, nickel, manganese, aluminum. American Manganese is focused on recycling lithium-ion batteries for electric vehicles. American Manganese trades on the TSX Venture, AMY, the US, AMYZF, and Frankfurt 2AM. For more information, visit AmericanManganeseInc.com or phone me, Larry Ray, at 778-574-4444.
Avon Resources Limited is a gold exploration company with significant projects in British Columbia and the Yukon, trading on the TSX Venture Exchange, symbol ABN, and the OTCQB, symbol ABNAF. Surrounded by world-class gold deposits and mines, Avon's 23,000 hectares Forest Kerr Gold Project is located in the heart of the Golden Triangle in northwestern BC. For more information, visit us at avonresources.com.
Welcome back. We're speaking with John Kaiser. John, SK Mining is up sharply during the past 2 days. Have they found SK Creek 2?
They have not found SK Creek 2 yet, but they have found strong evidence that there is an SK Creek 2 prize to be found. Now, SK Creek 1 was a 2.5 million ton deposit that had 3.5 million ounces gold and 180 million ounces silver at the staggering grades of 43 grams per ton gold and 2,200 grams per ton silver. And it was a classic volcanogenic massive sulfide deposit, the kind that forms where fluids vent onto the ocean floor. They're exhaled as a plume and they settle down and precipitates and it gradually piles up, and because it forms these metallic sulfides, it ends up being massive, which means that there's hardly any other garbage rock in it. It's either the target metals that you want, or iron sulfides, which is the bulk of the massiveness, and then of course sulfur, which is part of it. They have not found that. At SK Creek, this sits at the contact mudstone, which is sort of the last period in that basin where this type of hydrothermal activity took place. It spewed into a marine environment, and when that ceased, the whole area was paved over by younger basalts, which are essentially barren. But at Skeena's SK Creek project, you have these earlier mudstone horizons, one they call the lower mudstone, and one they found last year, which they now call the even lower mudstone unit. These have a propensity to absorb gold and silver, not so much the base metals, zinc and copper. And they are also gold and silver mineralized. It's the fluids passing through them on their way to the C4 vent, where they create the true VMS pile. And in the Lulu zone, in the northern part of SK Mining's project, where over $15 million has been spent since 1991, including $8 million quite recently by SSR, trying to find the source of the Lulu zone high-grade gold-silver mineralization. It's now concluded that, yes, this is just like the lower mudstone unit. It's not part of the VMS vent. That, they now believe, is farther to the west after they did a complete rethink of all the thrust faulting in that area, the continuation of the contact mudstone. It's buried under Bowser Lake sediments, so you're going to have to drill through a bunch of garbage rock to get to it. But they feel that what Lulu is the deeper part that the fluids flowed through. Now, the results they reported yesterday were from the TV and Jeff targets, and these are about 1,800 meters apart. They're about 10 kilometers south of the Lulu zone, which itself is about 10 kilometers south of the original 21 SK Creek B zone. Now, the Jeff and TV targets were tested back in the 90s. They got some sort of VMS mineralization, but the geologists couldn't make sense of it, so they ended up moving on and going elsewhere. These latest holes that they drilled, 20 holes, basically split between the TV and the Jeff targets. They're basically pinpoint drilling. In each case, there's about 2 drill pads, about 50 meters apart, fanning in different directions. So it's not covering a huge area. They don't know what's between TV and Jeff. The geophysical results didn't come in until after they started this drill program. They do see conductors between them. They suspect that the system may be connected, but they reported really good gold and silver grades. And in late September, they reported results from hole 35 on the TV zone, and that had pretty good gold and silver grades, 16 meters of 1.1 gram gold and 149.8 grams per ton silver. But the 5 more that they reported, they included hole number 40 with almost 30 meters of 23 gram per ton gold and 25.7 gram per ton silver. And that's a very impressive gold intersection. And in the Jeff zone, for which they reported 3 holes, and the first holes for that included a really big zinger. It had 5 meters of 31 gram gold and 138 grams silver, which included a 1.6 meter interval of 78.83 gram per ton gold and 326 gram per ton silver. And that's the equivalent of 2.5 ounce per ton gold and 10.5 ounce per ton silver, which is almost $5,000 rock at today's value. But this mineralization is described as stratabound stockwork and massive sulfide replacement of mudstone. So again, this is fluids that have passed through existing stratigraphy on its way to a vent somewhere. And while they call this a great VMS-enriched system, this is not the actual VMS pile, the SK Creek clone that they are looking for. They are still sorting out where this is. And the market's responding strongly because it's unlike Lula, where you had like one little location that had these high silver gold grades. We now see it in multiple locations, 1,800 meters apart, and that clearly there was a lot of fluid flow coming through here. And in this case, the stratigraphy appears to dip to the east, so it is the eastern side of an anticline where the original flat stratigraphy has been folded, whereas the Lulu zone is more on the western limb of the anticline. So now the trick will be to chase this up dip and find where did this fluid flow end up. And they just raised $13.8 million between 90 cents and $1.25 for hard and flow through dollars. That boosts their treasury to $15 million. This is the best financial shape SK Mining Corp has ever been in its history, and it also has the team of John DeDecker and Thomas Monarchy that Quentin Henney brought in to do the deep dive on the whole geochemistry of this camp. It's John DeDecker's work that has upped their confidence that this is a major district. All the focus has been on the northern end. SK Creek was discovered. Now we have another 25 kilometers of strike on the SK mining property. Much of this portion is owned 20% by Kirkland Lake, 80% by SK Mining. They can't go back in there until late June, July to continue drilling. So there's going to be sort of a 6-month dead zone during which this private placement will come free trading. But heading to 2021, the resumed work on the SK mining project will probably be the most watched exploration play in the Golden Triangle, because that prize, an SK Creek clone, would be worth $4.4 billion today, Canadian, at current metal prices, and that would translate into a future $19 stock price for SK Mining. So the stock is responding strongly today, not because they have made that discovery. The stock would be rocketing a lot higher if they had, but because the market's optimism that now it's only a matter of time before we home in on a similar prize. And this is the what's driving the stock higher at the moment. Where it stalls and goes into waiting mode, hard to determine. But these results show that there's something going on here, and they now have a competent team with all the tools in place to hoover up every little bit of data, put it into their leapfrog models, and start stalking this elephant whose dung droppings they just documented with that news release yesterday.
John, thank you so much for the update, and have a great Christmas.
You too, Jim. Thank you very much.
We've been speaking with John Kaiser, his website kaiserresearch.com. I'm Jim Goddard.
Comments made on Discovery Watch are an expression of opinion only and should not be construed in any manner whatsoever as recommendations to buy or sell any financial instrument at any time. Archived online at howstreet.com. Discovery Watch is a production of How Street Media Incorporated.